And welcome to 15 Minute Band Builder, Module 4. This is Josh again, and in Module 4 we're going to be looking at better live shows. So we're starting to get into the more exciting stuff, so we'll jump straight into it. If music be the food of love, play on. William Shakespeare. Playing better live shows. Prepare well. Write out the set list for a particular show before the last pre-show rehearsal, and practice the set list in that order. Perform the set in the rehearsed order. This should help you to A. have better muscle memory, and B. just understand the transitions in the set well, and know exactly where you're going to be going without having to ask each other all the time, which can look a little bit unprofessional on stage. Check over all equipment after the final rehearsal and before the show itself. If time permits, try to get your guitar set up or do that yourself, get your bass set up, change some strings if you need to. Make sure that you have spare picks and drumsticks, all those kinds of things. And if you happen to have a under the weather vocalist, which can quite often happen, I would advise two measures. One would be checking out some throat pastils by a company called Vocal Zone. They have proven through many bands and through a lot of people that I read about to be very effective for clearing up sore throats and just lubricating the vocal tract and the vocal cords to avoid your singer's voice becoming dry during and before the set. And if you're touring from day to day, obviously that includes after the set. And if none of that, if the vocal zones don't happen to work, then you can also seek out a local masseuse, or hopefully maybe even have someone in your band trained up to do something similar, and get your singer a throat, shoulders, back massage anywhere around that area, and that should also help to improve your singer's voice. That tip comes from Carrie Cole, a vocal coach from New York. I heard that on a podcast at some point. It sounded like a pretty good one, and I've actually done some more research, and it's held true across the board for a lot of singers that a good massage can really improve one's voice on the day. Finally, request a spec sheet or run sheet from the venue at their earliest convenience and discuss all details related to the show with your band members themselves, so there's no confusion as to what goes on when you get to the show, where gear's coming from, where it has to go. Get as much of that planning done beforehand as you can, and avoid talking any more business once the practice or the pre-show practice kicks in. Playing better live. Stage setup. Set up on stage in roughly the same format as you rehearse in. This will improve your visual communication skills and non-verbal communication, your transition cues from parts of songs to other parts of songs, as well as from one song to the next. And just through the physical manifestation of repetition, the rehearsed muscle memory will improve. And why fight that? It's happening naturally anyway, so you're going to get better just through repetition. You may as well stick with that and enhance its effects as much as you can. Research and work on better live sounds and tones for each instrument. You will more than likely find that what works in your bedroom or even in the rehearsal space is completely not what will work well on stage. Sorry to say that, particularly to you guitarists out there who think you might have 3 or 4 of the best sounds you've ever heard. They might not sound good with a microphone and a PA guy and 30-year-old cables and a beaten up old SM57 sitting in front of the speaker. You really have to work the tone to the room, to the PA that you're provided with, if you are provided with one. And there are some reasons why your tone may suck, even though you think it doesn't. That's that you may be playing at a different volume level than what you either rehearse at or play at in your bedroom. This would be the case if you're running a really heavy modulation effect like a phaser. They are much more pronounced and a little bit more wobbly sounding, for the lack of a better term, at high volume than they might be at bedroom level, where you think you have a good effect. Saturation at bedroom level could be completely over the top when you get on stage. Another reason that you may have other sound and lighting equipment that you don't normally have to deal with either at rehearsal or in your bedroom that's interfering with your equipment. That could be a uncooperative lighting rig that's on stage. It could be a lot of other sound equipment running off the same power sources that can all affect your tone. And finally, you need to remember that you actually have a microphone on your gear, which you may not always have. And the mic itself has a tonal range that could be different to what your ears is when you're in your rehearsal space or your bedroom. And really, the microphone, the cable, the mixing board, and the mixer themselves the front of house person that is, will have a large amount of effect on what your sound actually turns out to be live, so it's best to work with them directly. Just some quick tips for getting a better live sound in general. This is also to do with stage setup. Make good use of drum fills and foldbacks. That means to actually ask for things in there that you really need to hear, and don't be shy about that. If they're there and the venue or the festival is providing foldbacks, there's obviously an unwritten understanding that you're going to ask for things to be in them. They're not just there for show. So make sure you do take the time to understand what you need to hear in your own foldback. Start with the drummer. It's pretty important that they get to hear what they want and have enough time at least to get what they need in their fill, as they don't have any amplifiers actually behind them to let them know where exactly in the song they are. So it's also really important to let your drummer have a little bit of time to sort themselves out, and obviously your singer needs also a fair bit of time to get their vocal up to a good level. Ask for more in the drum fill and foldbacks if needed, I guess just to accentuate that last point. If you're unsure what you're sounding like and you happen to be playing a gig where most of the sound is coming from your amplifiers, you can always just ask the audience or someone in the audience that has seen you play before how you sound. Don't rule that out. Even if you just look at someone, they might, if you know the person well enough and they happen to be in a band or a guitar player or a singer or whatever, they might actually be able to give you some non-verbal cues as to what you're sounding like. So remember to read the crowd to get an idea of how you sound. If you're really unsure, just be brave and ask them what they think could happen. Because the strength of an entire room thinking one thing is going to have a lot more sway with a unruly front of house guy or girl than what maybe you will. If it's coming just from the band on stage, it might just sound like bitching to everyone who's working on the front of house crew. So if you get the crowd on side, you might find that they react a little bit better. Be super polite to all crew people and you will sound even better. So this is just a final point. The more that you can work cooperatively with your front of house crew, lighting crew, and or if you're playing a festival, the monitor engineers who are side of stage to get foldbacks working on their own mix, the better you'll sound. This just means be a good person and you'll probably sound better. And just to recap something we covered in Module 3, and it also applies to playing live, I've just done a really quick sketch as to where I think a bass player should be in relation to the snare drum. If you can imagine the bottom of the page being the front of the stage, and the snare happens to be on the left side of the drum kit, or the right stage looking from the crowd, then the bass player should be on that side, next to the snare drum, so those two can be as locked in as possible. 15-minute band build at Module 4 actions. Do the work in the rehearsal room so you can enjoy your live shows. Set up in a similar way to how you rehearse. Study bigger bands in your genre and go deeper into what makes their shows sound and or look so great beyond just the quality of the songwriting. So talk to their crew, talk to their engineers, look at what gear they're using, look at what gear they're not using, check out, if you can, what sort of microphones they have on things. And if you ever get the chance, just talk to the band themselves about how they get a particular sound, because they might have a slightly different idea to what's going on to what the crew people do. They might not even realise that there are some tweaks going on the front of house end to their sound. So make sure you get a full spectrum of opinion from bigger bands that you enjoy the shows of. Tweak your sounds, tones and effects to sound good live. This could be a matter of asking audience members, asking other people in bands, asking your own fans, and also asking the front of house crew for feedback. Record your live shows and review, discuss and improve. That's just a continuation from Module 3 when we covered recording our rehearsals in audio or video. You want to be doing this for your live shows as well, because you have the added benefit of judging crowd response to certain kinds of actions, songs, crowd interaction pieces, as in talking between songs, those types of things, jokes that you might have told that fell flat, all those types of things that you want to know. And once again, have fun at your shows. You are out there to have fun. So enjoy, and I'll see you in Module 5. Just in case you need some support, as always, for technical and product support, email Josh, DIYmusicmovement@gmail.com, and use the phrase 15 MBB support in the email subject line for a quicker response. Alternatively, if you just wanted to say anything or say hello or abuse me, anything you might want to do, you can go to facebook.com/DIYMM and or at Josh DIY Music on Twitter, and both of those will come to me directly. Okay, thanks, and I'll see you in Module 5.